Okay, hello, I'm Milo, and welcome back to the stream that I do, usually weekly. Missed last week for reasons. I'm still planning to do that Armadillo Run stream with my brother at some point, but his schedule is unpredictable, so we were planning to do it today and then he had a job interview, so things happen. What I want to start today's stream off real quickly with is a little exploration of the Roller Angels Flash site that I talked about in the previous Roller Angels stream. And this isn't going to take long. What I want to do for most of this stream is actually play DSiWare games, but just at the very beginning, I'll have a quick look at this, especially because Flash is a dead platform now that's really hard to access and stuff. So just quickly go through the different things. That's the kind of splash page. Pashato Daisaksen. Pashato Daisaksen. I incorrectly said it was Daiboken last stream. Yeah, it's actually Daisaksen, which means great mission or operation. Very cute animations on Flash and stuff. Character profiles, Becky, Patty, and me. What's this? Pretty and cute girls action is what this heading says. So some screenshots, samples. This is demonstrating the camera feature. So somebody on the dev team or marketing team has taken a photo of their cat to demonstrate that you can draw cat graffiti on the walls. Roller Angels movie, check. So this is the whole trailer. Let's see if the sound works on this. There's an English version of this that was made by the American publisher, whatever they were, Age Tech, which is the same thing, same music, it's just translated it into English. You can see that on the Giant Bomb database page for this game. They've archived that there. And like I said in the last stream, there's some cute bits of artwork that only appear in these kinds of trailers, and so I just want to show that off real quick, just to ease us into the stream today. These are the classics we had on DSiWare. Introducing the special skills of each of the characters. Hi Gibbon, how's it going? Sorry I didn't greet you there. Hope you're having a good day. If you look closely in some of the footage that is on display in this video, you can see some of that custom cat graffiti. That's a demonstration there. I'm dropping some frames. Quite a few. Oh well. Given is spent today adulting, which is highly overrated. I agree. It can be a real pain sometimes. But good on you for getting it done. So this is all the basic graffiti so far. I haven't gone back and played this game at all. I haven't had time. Maybe one day I'll go and grind and get all the custom tags and see what they look like. There you go. That's one of the bits of artwork I wanted to show, is me doing her climb up onto the thing. Here's Becky grinding. And Patty wall grinding or whatever. Pretty cool. Yeah, maybe I should have shown the English version of this trailer. But, it's all fluff text. You saw what the game was like on the last stream. And if you didn't, I recommend going back and checking out that video. This is a really cool game. Here you can see the cat custom graffiti being shown off. Very cute cats. I wonder if I can expand this. Nope, there's no full screen button on this player. Alright, well that's it. Let's play some DSiWare. This was done, by the way, in the standalone Basilisk browser that has a Flash player instance installed on it, which is a way that you can still get Flash stuff these days. If it's still on the web, which it is on Starfish's official website. Alright, so I'm gonna load that up. make sure that my touch screen is calibrated. So resetting it in normal mode. Now I'll capture the window. And plans change and stuff. I wasn't able to set up a custom layout, so we're going to be looking at it like this the whole stream, unfortunately. Now, let's play some games. Just a whole bunch of crazy games. I haven't got like a set order. I've just sort of written out a bunch of notes. So I'll just go through the games that I have on here in the order that I have notes on them. Oh, it's too loud? Okay. Oh, how did that happen? Oh, my secondary window capture wasn't set up properly. Sorry about that. Sorry if I blew out your ears there, headphone users. I'll keep an eye on that now, but I've fixed it to where it should be normally. That was silly of me. Alright, so the logical next step I've got from playing Roller Angels last week is to play another, or whenever I did it, is to play another game published by Age Tech, and that is Magical Whip. So this is a fun one. Oops, wrong button. No, hold on. I forget that Nintendo has like A to select. So not that one. Sorry. That's throwing me off my game. Okay, Magical Whip is a fun little game. Published by Age Tech, developed by Silver Star Japan, and a few of their other games are also under the Age Tech label for international publication and localization. Now what I think is cute about this is that it's attempting to replicate the old style of single screen arcade type games like Bubble Bobble and stuff, which a lot of more modern indie games like to do. Alright, these people don't have names. Standard or technical? Well, I'll always pick the girl if it's an option, so we're going with technical. So what do we got? This and this. Alright. A is jump, Y or X is... Oh, there's two different whip styles apparently. I don't know what the difference is, but the main mechanic here is that we're using our whip to grab a monster. I can't jump through platforms, you gotta go over here and fall. And then you're throwing the monster to hit other monsters and then getting combos. So while it's falling, you can grab it again and then throw it from there. But yeah, it's about clearing all the enemies on a stage, but in the way that... Oh boy. Yeah, in the way that single screen platformers were in the oldest days of arcades, sort of vertically oriented. They've used the two screens of the DS to kind of mimic that, although it's I guess a bit taller vertically than they would have been back then. Maybe? I'm not sure. But it's a fun format to have a game like this. And notice also that one thing I talked about last time with how games use the gap between the DS screens. Sometimes they butt right up against each other, as in this case, or sometimes they acknowledge that there's a physical gap between the two. See, that's how I've just grabbed another enemy that was falling, but it was the last one, so it actually delayed the ending of the stage. So yeah, this is a really cute game, which is very evocative of the, like I say, Bubble Bobble. Haven't played a Bubble Bobble game on stream, but I have played another one by the developer Taeyeon. Is it? You know what? I don't remember the name of it. It was the one where you play as a little witch, which is a common thing, cute little witch, and you like turn monsters into cakes and throw them off platforms. Very similar. She appears as a cameo character in Arkanoid vs. Space Invader. But I don't remember her name or the name of the game. Oh well. But you know, this is a common format. There's modern, like I said, modern games sometimes mimic this style of gaming. So I've played some of those on previous itch showcases. I think that was maybe like a spooky Halloween one I did that was like this. Yeah, like the Medusa one, although Mermaid Manor was also a bit like this. But I've also played game. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. So the girl character has less health, I think, but maybe I don't know what the difference is. My magic meter might be higher or something, which lets me swing the whip more, maybe. Oh, I'm getting bodied by this. Stage 5 of 50. Yeah, so I'm also thinking of when I've played the Game Center CX games on DS. They're really cool, and they create new retro-style games and act like these are old games of the 80s or whatever. And there's a few examples of games like this in there. There we go. Oof. I'm thinking specifically of the third game, retro game, Game Center CX, which in its localized initial DS release was called Retro Game Challenge. The second, the two other games weren't localized. Oh, I do have to kill the ghosts, but they run around. Alright, we just whipped them away. Yeah, so the third one had a game that was, it was more of a Mario Brothers pastiche, but it was pretty cool. Anyway, stuff. This is cool. I want to move on to another game now, so I'll just intentionally destroy myself in this fire. Oh, dash. I didn't know about the dash. Whoops. That might have helped. Yeah, so cute little game. Very cool stuff. We'll return to the menu now. The next note I have is about the Way Forward games, which I covered on my first DSiWare stream a few instances ago. And then I've got notes on the applications and utilities, the Animal Crossing clock, Dekisugi Tingle Pack, all that sort of stuff. I've got a note about Curling Super Championship, which sadly does not work on this emulator. Very unfortunate. So now we'll talk about, this was like evoking retro games, but we do have actual retro games that were republished on the DSiWare platform. So Rayman's a good example of that. This is, of course, the famous Ubisoft Paris game, originally released on like the Atari Jaguar, and I played it on DOS, although my friends had it on PlayStation as well. So all valid ways to play it. Sounds like, yeah, sounds like we're getting distortion on the audio for this one. That's variable whether that happens on certain games or not. That's just a dummy profile that I set up earlier. Wait. The game's not... Oh, did I... What's going on? Okay. I lost focus somehow. Alright, so yeah, we'll start a new game. Yeah, I'm Bar, I'm a sheep. That's me. Hello. So here's the magician, Andre, of course. Oh no. Yeah, Andre's the English one, Pierre is the French one. This is lore from the Rayman educational language learning games on the PlayStation. And there's Mr. Dark, aka not Alice Mansay, because Alice Mansay is a separate character who was impersonating Mr. Dark in Rayman Origins. Anyway, yeah. So the interesting thing is in gameplay. So when I was first learning about this version of the game, I thought it was kind of the definitive version of the game because, well, it actually makes a lot of changes from the original, maybe not all intended, but it's certainly acknowledged that it's easier, which is a good thing for me because the original game is pretty unforgiving, especially with its need to completely find every single Electoon collectible cage in the game in order to unlock the final boss and indeed the final world. So let's just see. I got a lot of information here from the Rayman Pirate Community Wiki, which documents all the games very well, including this particular port. So some new features of this port, it's been made easier. You get 30 continues instead of the, I don't know, fewer amounts that were in the original versions. You have more health by default, so all those yellow dots under my life bar. Well, I've just lost a lot. from dying, but you have a lot more of them by default. So you can take more hits. What else do we have? There's more checkpoints, more frequent checkpoints. You can skip screens or like rooms. So this screen of this level, if I completed it and then came back to play it again, I'd be able to skip through it. So that's a fun feature. There's a checklist in the pause screen. So you go to anti-dark matters and it tells you for this level what how many collectibles you've got, and then for worlds and whether you've found all the cages in them. Oh, and if you've done it without using any continues. Wow, okay, well, that's not happening. Not with this game. What are some more features? So I guess the most noticeable feature is the bottom screen. So we've got normal gameplay on the top screen, although sadly it's actually a bit zoomed in and crunched in compared to most other versions of the game due to the size of the DS's screen. But to compensate for that, what they added is that bottom screen view, which is sort of a mini map. Oh, great. I've just got a warning on the emulator because going onto a checkpoint actually tries to use the DSi camera, which is not supported on this emulator, so it's kind of crashed. All right, well, I won't be showing any more of that, unfortunately, but I think we saw... that main feature which is that bottom screen thing, which I think is cool. Like the top screen is more zoomed in than normal gameplay usually is, but the bottom screen is quite zoomed out compared to normal gameplay, although it doesn't show you what you're doing, it just shows you where you are. Gibbon says she just found her copy of Rayman for PSX earlier today. Doing a bit of tidying up, are you? That's cool. Yeah, fun. Yeah, very decent way to play it, I would say. Gosh. All right, I had a couple of other notes for this. Let me see if I can just restart. How do I actually quit this now? Oh, what have I done? Yeah, okay, it accepted the restart command. Great. Worth noting is... Yeah, so in addition to those extra features that I listed, it has various other expansions and issues. So they're all documented on the Rayman Pirate Community Wiki again. So it's not a perfect replication of the game. There's like changes and tweaks or sort of problems with the engine not being exactly the same as it originally was. But you can play it on various other platforms, including GBA. I think is an okay way to play it as well. In addition to that Rayman port, there's other kinds of similar ports that I saw while looking through a list. So like Earthworm Jim is on DSiWare as a similar kind of 16/32-bit era conversion to the DSiWare, as well as a game called Prehistoric Man, which is from a similar era. This is still available on my Regions 3DS for $12, which is at the upper region of DSi price tiers. Okay. Right, the next one I had notes on is Dark Void Zero. So an interesting thing about this one is that, we have retro games that have been ported here. We've got like retro-ish style games that use pixel graphics or that evoke older gameplay styles like Magic Whip. But this is a really interesting case. Dark Void Zero was a game that Capcom put out to accompany a major HD console release, Dark Void, which is a, kind of, well, I've written here forgettable. I think I was feeling pretty cynical when I wrote these notes, but it's sort of a 7th gen action game with a kind of Rocketeer style theme to it. But the concept of this DSiWare release is that there was a NES game in the 80s called Dark Void Zero, and the new game is like a reboot of that property. But that's fake. Like they made this NES style game at the time that they were making that new game. But here it's like, oh yeah, this is an old NES cartridge, North American NES, I'll note, judging by the shape of the cartridge. Actually, PAL had the same shape cartridges. Anyway, you have to blow. And I've said before, that this emulator doesn't support microphone input, but you can bypass this with a button press, luckily. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to play this on emulator at all. There are other ways to play it, though. This is not exclusive to DSiWare. It was also released on iOS, although that's probably been delisted by now, but it's also on PC, so there you go. What did I want to say? Oh yeah, one more note about blowing your cartridges. Don't actually do that, because it'll just put spit particles on the contacts and corrode them faster. It's not going to help your games play better. It's going to speed along, making them play worse. So yeah, like I said, we're bypassing that with a button press. This was made by Other Ocean, which we saw on the splash screen before. They're also responsible for the Xbox 360 port of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that Super Monkey Ball game on iOS, or a couple of them actually. They did a CSI like adventure puzzle game that ties into Telltale's CSI games on PC and console, which, by the way, you should check out Mitchell Wolf and Dustin Jackson's podcast, Telling the Tale, where they're going through the entire catalog of Telltale games. And they've recently done the first CSI game. Another thing that Other Ocean did that you might be familiar with is iDarb. I mentioned iDarb during a previous stream when I was playing the Way Forward DSiWare games, because of the kind of cameo characters in iDarb from other franchises, including Way Forward characters. So yeah, they have a pretty good history of cool games, and I do think the Super Monkey Ball games on iOS are pretty cool, as well as the other stuff. Yeah, we're getting more sound distortion on this one, sadly. But yeah, now that we're in actual gameplay rather than the cutscene, you can see that it's kind of a wide-ranging, Metroid-style map. And one of the things I love about DS games is, or games of this type on DS, is having a permanent map displayed on one of your screens while you do gameplay on the other. Including Captain Jimmy Fallon, one of the missing, soldiers here. This is a promotional thing to tie into the idea that this is a lost 80s NES game. Somebody went on to Jimmy Fallon's talk show at the time in 2007 or whatever I said it was. I didn't write down when this was released, but I think 2010-ish. Anyway, they went on the talk show and got Jimmy Fallon into this game with, again, the made-up premise that he was a child at the time who'd entered a contest to have his name in the game. So that's just a funny thing that they put in there. Okay, so we haven't yet got the kind of main feature of this game, which is the jetpack, but that's coming up soon. Once we do a bit of exploration, we'll get into a cave where we are given our fun old jetpack mechanic. But for now we're just jumping around with a gun. Double fire! Woo! So I don't know what's going on with the lore here. I wasn't listening to that cutscene at the start, but basically we're killing aliens and... Oh, that's cool. Okay, so there is a jetpack mechanic now. It's back. Or it's here, at last. Oop. So Gibbon was saying about hunting for PSX games. She was looking for her copy of Vagrant Story. Which, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks with what I've seen from you recently, where she's reawakened an obsession for the Ivalice series of Final Fantasy and related games, and Vagrant Story is part of that. And so Gibbon has had to do some archaeology on her 3 layers deep games shelf. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I've never owned any PlayStation games. Oh, I had one at one point, which a friend gifted me. And I believe that Sony consoles were still able to play PS1 games. I don't... Okay, so PS3s can. They have like an onboard emulator. I think PS2s can, or some models can. But I don't think that 4 and 5 can. I'm not sure though. I haven't really needed to find out. Anytime I want to play a PlayStation game, I just emulate it, and I have a number of ways to do that don't require proper hardware and will let me save state and such. Anyway. So I need to go somewhere. It looks like my map is telling me about a T, but I can't actually backtrack there through this door. Oh, I can. Okay, cool. So let's go up there. A lot more enemies around at the moment. Got a new weapon. Oh, okay. Oh, this one looks cool though. Very low on health. Apparently these enemies have some kind of parasitic worm inside. This one doesn't have a semi-automatic, or it doesn't have an automatic rate of fire, but it's more powerful. Which is probably going to help me deal with enemies as I see them. I probably should have listened to what that guy was saying, because I don't know what to do with this right now. I'll try jetpacking up in that cavern over there. Right, so let me see. Yeah, that's a good point. So Gibbon was saying about Dark Void Zero, this is sort of the first instance of that sort of thing, huh? That sort of thing being like a faux retro style game. And she says, I guess you could thank this for Bloodstained in that respect. Yeah, indeed. So Bloodstained, of course, had a couple of tie-in... okay, so these are checkpoints. Yeah, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night had a couple of tie-in 8-bit style games made by Intercreates called Curse of the Moon 1 and 2. Oh no, my rocket pack. Oh, okay, but by using this improved power gun I can get through this wall? No, I can't. Alright, so what do I do then? So many locked doors. Oops, got the bad gun back again. I don't know what to do. So I've tried this door. Oh, did I go up to the left there? Oops, don't want to go through the nullifier field. But it seems like I have free use of the rocket pack, which is nice. It's not limited at all. Oh yeah, well I've been here and this was nothing, so I don't know where to go next. Because my other gun didn't work on this. Well, maybe it's time to move on. This is going to be a rapid fire stream playing a series of games, but this one's impressive. I like this. I might even be revisiting at some point. Is there anything else I wanted to say first? On the topic of Bloodstained and Inti, they did a similar thing with Mighty Number 9 making Mighty Gunvolt and Mighty Gunvolt Burst. Both excellent, excellent games that really, in a lot of ways, outshine the game that they were ostensibly tying into. Okay. And similarly, evoking 8/16-ish bit styles. Alright. The next thing I want to play is the Game & Watch games. I probably talked about these a bit in the last stream. But yeah, Nintendo put out some Game & Watch games for that were downloadable for $3 each, at least in my region, still on 3DS. But it's interesting the way they've done them, because there's different ways you can replicate LCD style games. Again, Game Center CX3 has some fake LCD games in it, and I played a fake LCD Flash game several streams back. But yeah, Donkey Kong Jr. is one of my favorite Game & Watches. I think it's really cute. It is a really good example of just this simple little platformer adapted to the style with limited frames of animation. Oops. Yeah, that does count as a miss, by the way, when I whiff that key and just fall on my face. But you can jump over the claptraps. What are they called? Not claptraps. Snapjaws. You have to time your sideways jump for when the key is there, or you will just die. So it's a bit rough, actually. You know what? I take it back. I don't like this game. No, I do still like it. Donkey Kong Jr. is one of my favorite arcade era games, and this version of it is fun too. Although obviously the Coleco tabletop version is more accomplished, has color and stuff. Well, this does have color in the backgrounds, which is a fun use of, I don't know what you would call it. Is it graphics? If it's like an overlay in the back? I don't know. See, that's the interesting thing about these LCD games. Okay, I gotta figure out how to do this. It must be when it's at the far end, and then... Do I need to press the jump button at the same time? I swear I've played this before. I've played a lot of it, actually, on the Game & Watch Gallery collections on Game Boy, which are a great way to present these games, by the way. This one is more faithful to the original with its look. It's higher resolution, able to better replicate that style, although not perfectly, because it's still a bit, pixelated and stuff. The art on original Game & Watches is just so smooth. There we go. The timing is really tricky, actually. But yeah, one thing I was also pleased to sort of unearth was it was kind of a clone of this called Crazy Kong, one of the several LCD games called Crazy Kong, but that was put out by Grandstand not long after the original release of Nintendo's Game & Watch, to capitalize on, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not like Nintendo were the first to ever do it, but in terms of game design of Crazy Kong, it does seem to be kind of based on this kind of thing. I just don't know how to grab that key. I've lost my touch. I knew how to do it at one point. Anyway, the big point I want to make about these Game & Watch releases... oh, cool. Thanks for subscribing, Gibbon. I do appreciate it. It's been 9 months, apparently. So I now have a stream baby. So that's enough of that. I'll play a couple of the other Game & Watch releases they put out. But yeah, the main point I want to make about these Game & Watch releases is that Nintendo completely dropped the ball in a really stupid way. All of the Game & Watch releases that Nintendo put on the DSiWare downloadable shop are single-screen games. Now, that is absurd to me when you have a dual-screen handheld that is perfectly and uniquely positioned to replicate that hard to recreate form factor of many Game & Watches, like the original Donkey Kong or Mario Brothers, where the two brothers are working in a bottling plant. But instead, they have the bottom screen doing absolutely nothing and just having some text. It just makes no sense to me. They would kind of alleviate this sort of foolish decision-making later on with the Club Nintendo exclusive DS game releases. So you had to sign up for... Yeah, see, I missed the platform. It moved just as I was about to get onto it, which means I fell down. You have to be careful about where you step. Yeah, the two Game & Watch collection games do have some dual screen titles on the DS. So, there's that, but you had to sign up for their loyalty program and buy enough physical things, enter the codes to get the points, and then have it shipped out to you. It's a ridiculous way of doing it. I really don't understand why they didn't make some of those dual screen titles digitally available on DS, or do a proper retail collection of a whole bunch of them. I don't know. It's just bizarre. The fact that these games exist just baffles me. Anyway, I guess I'm a bit better at this one than DK Jr. But yeah, this is another one that's in the pre-Super Mario World. We cover it on DK Gerda as part of the expanded Donkey Kong era, along with Mario Brothers, Mario's Bombs Away, that kind of thing, Wrecking Crew, all this stuff where Mario's a blue-collar worker doing various jobs. In this case, he's operating a very inefficient cement factory, where each time cement is dumped from these containers up above, you need to manually push a lever to let it flow through into lower containers and thus into the truck eventually. I don't know if there's a bonus when you fill these trucks or if it just keeps going, but yeah, anyway. Oh, that is a fail state. Yeah, if you wait on there, you get crushed at the top. Very dangerous factory as well as being inefficient. Poor Mario. And I don't say that often. But he's really being exploited as a worker here, I gotta say. Alright, let's try another one. So there's about half a dozen games that were released in this way from the Game & Watch line. The only other one I wanted to play today was Vermin, just because of the recent connection. Vermin was featured on the recent Legend of Zelda Game & Watch modern thing, which doesn't have any Zelda Game & Watch games on it, but it does have a reskin of Vermin to be about Link, and he's bashing Subterranean Octoroks on the head, which is odd because Octoroks were never known to like burrow and come out of the ground until I think Breath of the Wild, maybe. They've been aquatic versions since Ocarina of Time, I believe. But anyway, it's cool. You just move back and forward so that your hammers are in the correct place when the mole pops up. If you're not there as they're popping up, you get a miss. Presumably, I guess the implication is that you're protecting some kind of farm from or veggie patch from these moles. Kind of similar to Greenhouse, where you had to spray bugs as they came in before they would ruin your plants. That might be in the backstory in the manual or something. Actually, is there a virtual manual? I don't know. I don't think so. Oops, missed a mole. I wonder if these are the same moles from Mole Mania. Okay. Oops. Just looking at my notes. I don't have anything more to say about these releases apart from why didn't you put any dual screen games out, you silly fools. So there's another one I wanted to show off, which is in the Dark Void Zero or Magic Whip kind of vein, but tying into Game & Watch titles. There was a release called, let me find it, Retro Pocket by UFO Interactive. UFO Interactive have a few other things under their name. They're in the credits for both of the new Bubsy revivals. I don't know what exactly they did for it though. That's a bit loud, let's turn that down. It's also distorted, sadly. So this was exclusive to DSiWare and is not available on my region's 3DS store currently, so it might not have been released in Australia or PAL. Yeah, that's a fun thought experiment too, given since Super Mario Brothers new Game & Watch had a version of Ball, which was different to the version of Ball that was already in the Game Watch Gallery collections. And yeah, Zelda had Vermin. It's fun trying to imagine what single screen games they would convert for other series Game & Watch anniversary things. So in that case, if they did a Donkey Kong Game & Watch modern thing, what new Game & Watch reskinning would you want to have Donkey Kong in, ignoring the fact that there's like already half a dozen existing Donkey Kong Game & Watches that they probably wouldn't put on that thing because they're stupid. I can't actually leave this demo apparently. Oh no, because I keep forgetting that if I get focus away from the screen I have to go back to it. So what this is a set of 8 faux LCD type games that are newly made for this collection, which is a really fun idea. So I'll just give a quick go to each of them. No. Which button do I press? Oh, I actually have to touch the touchscreen, apparently, I think. So these all have a Game A and a Game B, as the Nintendo Game & Watches did. They also have voice acting, which is a higher fidelity than such devices ever would have at the time. But that's just a fun little alternate universe kind of thing. So this looks like a little kind of combination of something like Spitball Sparky and Fire, which Fire was the one where you're rescuing people falling out of a burning building. Spitball Sparky was kind of like a brick breaker, or yeah, I don't know. It was something where you were shooting projectiles upwards. Now it looks like we have to stop 3 fires from coming at once on one of these columns on the building. And we're splitting our attention between shooting jets of water to stop the fire and rescuing the people on the sides, which is a nice little twist on 2 different kinds of existing Game & Watch designs. So that's cool. That's Fireman. Although again, they're only using a single screen for the actual gameplay when they have 2 available, and then having some just art on the top. Looks like you can only have 3 active... Oh no, you can only have 1 in a column at a time, it looks like. So you can have as many as you want going in the column... don't worry, forget it. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna quit now and try a different one of the 8 that we have. Might as well try all of them, if only briefly. What else do we have to do today? There's so many to play, so many games. Let's keep moving. Alright, what's this? Whale escape. What do I do? Oh no, I got blowholed. I refuse to read the help files, so... Yeah, this looks like a variation on Octopus, the Game & Watch Octopus, where you're moving backward and forward and rescuing, in this case, maybe children. Yeah, there's a baby on the artwork at the top. The baby's trapped in the whale's mouth and you have to pull him out and return him to the boat while avoiding the blowhole spurt and the birds. So that's cool. Yeah, I like that one. Let's try them. The rest though, Candy Factory, evoking the various Mario Factory ones, Mario Cement Factory, Mario Brothers. So what are we doing in this case? Okay, so this is a bit of a simpler kind of tapper style thing. You just have to be there at the time to grab it. Oh, okay, and it's filling up your backpack there. Oh, it was full and then I couldn't put it down, so I dropped it. How do I go over to the right? Oh, I guess I just wasn't hitting the right button, but when you've got the candies in your back container, you can deposit them over there. Cool. So Oil Panic had a similar mechanic as well, with filling up a container and then emptying it. That lives on in Super Smash Bros., of course, in Game & Watch Mr. Game & Watch's down special, where you can grab projectiles and then throw them out again. A pretty technical move that, to be honest, I don't use very much. I mainly rely on his back air, which is quite powerful. Alright. So yeah, did you have an idea, Gibbon, about what a reskin for a Donkey Kong game would be? I'd have to go through a list of what games exist. So this is another one where we just have to be in the right place. A bit like Manhole, maybe? But we've actually missed that bottle up there. I misjudged the timing. But if you're in the right place when it comes in... No. You actually also have to input. Okay, you have to press A to do an attack, a kick or a punch, to break the bottle on its way in. I'm curious about what those sprites at the bottom are going to be for. We can see the shadows, which you could do on original Game & Watches. This is a sort of an aspect of presentation for these kinds of things that is divisive. Some people would say you shouldn't have the... Oops. So you can actually go down there by jumping on the left and then... So that's if somebody else is approaching from below. Anyway, alright, that's fine. Yeah, so it's split on whether you should display the shadows or not. You can see the shadows on a real device sometimes if the light angle is right. I don't know what I'm doing here exactly. What? I don't have a character here, so I don't know what to do. Is it touch controlled? No, not that I can tell. I don't know how this one works. Maybe I will consult the help for the first time. Oh, L and R, okay. There was a control thing. See, when you pause at any time. Okay, so you rotate with L and R. Okay, I can do that. Oh, okay. Yeah, my L button works, but my R button is a bit dodgy. I think I need to have a look at this controller and... Alright, so you have to block... you have to get the white ones in like the white pipe and then the black ones in the black pipe. Tricky. But, yeah, my R button... That's quite distressing. I'm going to need to have a look at that later. Alright, Postman. This looks like helmet. Oh, okay, so we need to drop the post in the letterboxes. Okay, we get post from the bag over there and avoid the dogs. Okay. Ah! Can't pass through there. Not when the dog's that close. They're asleep now. How do you know when the people are going to come out? I guess it's random. Oops. Yeah, my bad. I like that they all kind of reuse the same character because it's calling back to that kind of Mario Everyman Mr. Video style thing where Mario could be put in any game doing any job at the time. Kind of an everyman. Different to what he would end up becoming, of course. Yeah, I guess they just randomly appear and empty the letterbox. Right. Oh. Watch your head. Oh, cool. Construction site style. Donkey Kong style. So again, we've got 3 slots to hold these mini girders. And I'm going to drop them off. So it's pretty similar to Candy Factory. Our buddy over here is haphazardly throwing these girders at us. And then we're going to get points for dropping them off. Probably a bonus for doing multiple. Maybe. No. No bonus? Then why do I have a 5-point mark? Okay, you do get extra for doing all 3. But if you're not careful, you have to watch your head. You will get boned. Alright, last one. Egg drop. Ooh, I like the Donkey Kong Jr. style jungle environment. Vines, trees. And again, we're filling up a basket with goods. This is a mechanic that's been used a couple of times here. Oh, okay, cool. So you deposit eggs, but you also stop snakes from grabbing your eggs by burning them with a torch. So there is a Game & Watch game called Egg, but a bit different to this. Oops, never mind. Given does not approve of the work practices on that construction site, slinging the blocks around like that. Yeah, it's no less safe than Mario's Cement Factory, I would argue. Alright, so that's enough of that one. Retro Pocket, very cute little thing. I do applaud that evoking of LCD type games on a modern system. I think that's very cute and they did a good job with it. Alright, so according to my notes, the next one I want to play is a platformer called Antipole by Saturnine Games. This is not exclusive, it was. But it was also, it actually got a release on Xbox 360 at the time as well. But yeah, like the big story around this is that they've been making a remake for years and years. Oh yeah, I did play some of this before, so this is partly into it. Let's just play through the start of the game until when they introduce the cool mechanic. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, so Saturnine Games have been making Antipole DX for a while. It was supposed to release on the Wii U and 3DS in 2016. But according to recent comments on the developer's Twitter, you know, it was cancelled, and I don't think people were sure why at the time, but recently they've said on Twitter that Nintendo were the active party behind the cancellation of that version. So yeah, there's some ill feeling there. Nobody knows why, or I don't think anybody knows why Nintendo did that outside of Saturnine, but yeah, it's too bad. But the DX remake is still on track to be completed and released. It's going to be out on Steam at least. And as far as my regional 3DS eShop is concerned, this is not available for purchase for me. So since I don't have an Xbox 360, the only way I can play this game currently is through this DSiWare emulator. Until the remake comes out, and who knows what that's going to change. So here is the cool thing about this game. Gravity flipping. Oh no, my R button. Oh no, that's going to be a problem. So you use R to change the gravity, and that drains the meter at the top. But yeah, that's the cool gimmick of this game. We've seen other games that have gravity flipping mechanics before, including Way Forwards, Wendy Every Which Way on the Game Boy Color, which I played on stream, and I talked about a few other games that have similar gimmicks at the time. But yeah, the way this uses it is really interesting. It's limited by the bar, and it also affects things around you in that circle, including enemies and level objects and stuff. And that gets used in different ways as you progress in more complex ways. So there's parts of the game later on where there's liquids filling up, you know, pits on the bottom, and then by inverting gravity, they will fall to the ceiling, etc. But yeah, this is a whole game that iterates on this gravity switching mechanic. And, you know, it's a different take on it than other ones that I've played. Whoops. Because it has also got this combat mechanic and other things to it. I've played other ones that are more puzzle games. Ah? Oh no. Anyway, I think this is a really cool concept. Yeah, my dodgy R button is actually making this quite a difficult proposition to play right now, unfortunately. But luckily we've got a lot more things to show off today. Anyway, Antipole looks pretty cool. Check if it's available in your region. It's not in mine on the 3DS shop. Yeah, and if you're interested, you can wishlist the Steam page for the remake, the DX version. Saturnine is still working on that. So yeah, I think it's got a cool style to it too, this game. And some nifty animation on the main character. Yeah. Oops. Oh, nuts. Anyway, cool. Let's move on. There's so much to get to. I probably was overambitious, but I don't want to split this into two. I want to get this done. Sorry. Okay, next on my list, Soul of Darkness. This is really cool. I've played through this whole game on 3DS through its release on the eShop there. $7.50 there, Australian, if you're wondering. So Gameloft, huge output in the mobile phone era. This was originally released on J2ME capable phones, and so you can get it there as well on Carvey Break or other kinds of emulation or virtualization software. But if you're familiar at all with Castlevania, you'll be scratching your head at this. This is very much evoking that style. So if you've played the DS Castlevanias and you want more, this is a very decent extra thing to try out. I just wish that Shadow Walker, my favorite Castlevania-like on mobile, had got the treatment of being ported to the DS. But anyway, the sprite design, the kind of graphic design style DUI and all that, very evocative of DS era Castlevania. Oh, I think I've just skipped that cutscene, but you know, it's pretty pretty standard. Your girlfriend gets fridged by Dracula, and you know, it's not actually Dracula, but bit of a graphical glitch there, I think. Anyway, yeah, you get these upgrade points, you spend them on making your abilities better. Yeah, look, that's definitely not right. It shouldn't look like this. So this is an emulator issue. But yeah, you can tell the look of the protagonist here with the flowing cloak and even the shadows behind him as he moves. That's all taken directly out of those games that follow on from Symphony of the Night. Which, by the way, if you're familiar with those games, have an open structure to them, quote-unquote Metroidvania style. This one is more level-based, it's linear and straightforward, but so just don't get the wrong idea about it. But as far as that goes, it's very good, and I would recommend it. as long as you know what kind of experience you're getting out of it. So as you go on, there's like a weapon or two that you unlock, and then you spend your points on upgrading them. You get a few more abilities, but yeah, otherwise it's quite linear. But there's a lot of fun set pieces like this that happen along the way. It's just a really cool little thing. So we're on to Game Loft Beijing, who is the particular studio within Game Loft who created this one. You even get these fun little animations for critical hits. Yeah, not Dracula, of course. It's not Dracula, it's the not Dracula. I think it is called Ritter. Yeah. King of Ritter. And I'm not Alucard at all. No way. Why would you think that I was Alucard? Anyway, yeah, really cute game. I do recommend this one. Probably won't play too much more of it, but it's got a mechanic that we have seen sort of before, where we're going to use the DS camera to do a little silly thing. In this case, it uses the camera to give you a certain, like, pickups at some point. So, like, there's going to be a booth at some point in the level. Yeah, there's one now. So you go in there. Yeah, okay, it doesn't even load it up. I was hoping it would at least explain what it was, but it just doesn't work. So inside, I got this to work before. Hold on. Do I reset here and then hit the dialogue? Yeah, okay. So when you go in the booth, it opens up the DSi's camera, and then it's like, we're going to give you a blue-colored pickup which refills your magic or whatever. To get it, you need to take a photo of something that is mostly blue. So it's just simple color recognition that you point your camera at something, and if the color matches, then you get the reward. Oh yeah, my stream's pretty far behind. Anyway, so that's just a silly mechanic that doesn't really need to be there, but I guess they wanted to use the camera gimmick. Yeah. Let me see. So in addition to J2ME, you could get this on BlackBerry at the time. That's cool. And other things that Game Loft Beijing were responsible for were the J2ME version of Rayman Raving Rabbids, which I highly recommend. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog clone, but it's fun. And has like proper rabbit antagonist platformer thing going on, which is fun. After that, they did an actual Sonic game. They did the Sonic Unleashed version on J2ME, which I think is also pretty well regarded. Oh, they even did the Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed J2ME games, which I know are highly regarded, as well as a bunch of sports games on the platform. So that was their bag, but they also had some of these DS ports of their games. Before we move to the next thing, Castle of Magic is another one by the same studio, so another Game Loft Beijing game that was originally released on J2ME and BlackBerry, got a port to DSiWare. This one was also playable on browser, I'm reading in my notes, so they must have made a Flash version or something as well. Yeah, okay. I guess I have to continue from my like test play before. Well, that's okay. I guess I'll just go here. Wowzers, I'm a magician now. Yeah, so I went to like a magic world and I got magic powers. So yeah, you build up momentum as you run. You have a little magic attack which you can do in midair as well. These guys look a lot like Knights characters or something. But yeah, with this one, it's using both screens to make a larger gameplay area, which is fun. I like that a lot. We also have this block mechanic where you can turn enemies into blocks and then push them around. That's fun. That gets used for like exploration as well, because you can use them to then reach other areas or whatever, I think. Yeah, but it's a pretty normal kind of platformer. It's got a cute cartoony style. I like it. Yeah, there you go. Use the block like that. Power up! So there's some fun animation to the characters and stuff. That's cute. That style on the little power-up screen is a little bit different. Kind of 3D-ish, but cel-shaded compared to these pixel sprites that we have here. That's interesting. I also have a double jump and a kind of glide with my hat, which is fun too. So that all makes the platforming feel very dynamic and cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Wonder what that golden hat gets me. Oh, I wish my magic was a little bit longer range. We've also got a little bit of a Sonic the Hedgehog ring mechanic with our crystals for health, which ties back into their experience with Sonic games. Yeah, that's really interesting, that Sonic Unleashed game that they did on Java Fame, because it's coming at an era where 2D is kind of being phased out of the Sonic series. Of course, you've still got, you know, the advanced games have been made. Rush is still going on the DS. But yeah, it's like the last of that. Oh boy. So yeah, our different suits can increase our attack powers and stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that photo booth was kind of random, just in Soul of Darkness. It's just there to use the gimmick of the DS. And Gibbon says, this is a charming looking game, and I agree. It's very cute. But there's a relevant to that previous comment. The photo booth mechanic returns in this game. So that's just a common thing in between those Gameloft Beijing titles. They did both Soul of Darkness and this Castle of Magic game, and they both have the photo booth mechanic. I haven't encountered it yet in this game, but I think it was in like the tutorial level, which I did prior to this, and I can't figure out how to go back to. So I don't know when it's going to pop up again, but it has the same, that same mechanic that Soul of Darkness did. Which again, I'm not going to be able to show off on this emulator setup. But yeah, I would definitely rather play these kinds of games on the DS than a Java Fame. It's a more powerful system, it's got a more comfortable control scheme. It's got a bigger view screen as well. Oh boy. Oh no! So that's cute. I wasn't able to crash it on the photo booth, but that's just it. Should give you an idea of what Castle of Magic is like. Alright, let's head away from platformers for a second, because the next games that I have notes on are a couple of games from Cinemax, which are this one. Snakeanoid Deluxe. Oh, this isn't the deluxe version. Oh well. They put out two different Snakeanoid ones. Pragmatic, which is a very good pun on pragmatic and the fact that they were developed in Prague in the Czech Republic. So yeah, Snakeanoid is fun. Let me see. Oh yeah, so one game that Gibbon suggested that I play on this stream is Commando Steel Disaster. I think Gibbon suggested it. This is by the same developer. I wasn't able to find a ROM of Commando Steel Disaster for DSiWare, but it did get a cartridge DS release as well, so you don't need to jump through the hoops of this particular emulator setup to play that. You can just get the DS release, luckily. But Commando Steel Disaster is really good. It looks like a Metal Slug clone, and apparently it's a pretty good example, so that's cool. Alright, Snakeanoid is fun. I'll show you the idea of that. So it's all there in the name. Arkanoid is the touch point here, but with a snake. So we're controlling this with the touchscreen. We're moving our snake around by holding our stylus down and then swiping around. And we're using the snake as a mobile bat that has, you know, a complete physics simulation here to push the ball, rebound it, and punch it into these blocks. You'll note as well that the game screen is simulating the physical gap on an actual DS system where the screens are separated, and so that's why things just disappear in between the screens. It would make more sense on the real console than it does here in the emulator where they're jammed up next to each other. Some emulators are able to insert a virtual gap there, but I don't know if this one does. If it does, then it's going to be in the settings somewhere that I haven't investigated closely enough. But anyway, this is a very cute concept and it works pretty well. Oops, game over already. Yeah, Gibbon says it's a cool concept. Yeah, so this is the original release. There was a deluxe version as well on DSiWare, but both of them are exclusive, so this game format hasn't been ported elsewhere. I don't think it would work outside of the DS, to be honest. Maybe on a smartphone. Held vertically, that could work. That's certainly how Arkanoid vs. Space Invaders does it. When it's not been, misguidedly ported to consoles like it was. Anyway, like with a lot of Arkanoid variants, you get power-ups from breaking the blocks, so you can make your snake longer. If you want, you can use it as a paddle by moving it back and forward. Let me see if that works. I haven't tried that because I've normally been just headbutting the ball. So you can slow it down. There's one to make the ball go through blocks. That's a common brick breaker power-up. Yeah, so it'll just bounce off like that. But you can try and direct it with angled shots and stuff. So yeah, very cool. I really like this game design. So well done to Cinemax for that. A couple of other ones they're known for are Wormy and Inquisitor. I wish I had more recently looked at those to tell you what they're like, but they were just some notable titles. I think Inquisitor is a PC RPG. Okay, so I've spawned fish as well as multiple balls. It's Wormy. I wrote Wormy down and now I don't remember what it was. Wormy with an I. I don't know, strange. Yeah, this also is not available on my region's 3DS, sadly. Being made in Europe, it might be on some of the European eShops, but yeah, I can only emulate this. But apart from this, another one that Cinemax did that I thought looked really cool, there's a few different versions of this released. Goal with 5 O's. Importantly, you need the 5 O's to get results for this. This is the America version. There was also the Europa version. So there's different variants of this football game. But it's not just football. It's not just a sports simulator because that's boring. It's a table soccer virtual game, which is just silly and fun. I wonder if these white squares were supposed to have a graphic that hasn't been loaded properly on this emulator. Who knows? But yeah, you can pick a varying array of different North and South American countries to play as. So I've got friends in Brazil. I'm gonna pick Brazil. Oh, I see. It's starting north and heading south. Is that how this works? Oh, I can't pick Brazil because the opponent is Brazil right now. So I'll just... And they can be... Yeah, Argentina. Perfect. So let's give it a go. So this is also touchscreen controlled. It's not Sabutio, and it's not Foosball, which is where you have poles that you spin around to flick the ball around. But this is like, I think this is an existing type of table soccer I don't know what exactly, you know, it's riffing on, but I know this exists physically, and this is kind of a virtual version. The ball rolls around, it's a ball bearing. The players sit in these little pits, and then you pull them back and then flick them, and the ball goes flying along until it lands in the next pit, and you try and get a goal. And it's just very cute. Having it as a virtual version on DS here is a lot of fun, I think. What are you doing? Just passing it back and forth. I can't approach you, you know. Yeah, that's the thing. There's no real like interaction between the two players, I guess. It's kind of turn-based almost in a way. Like artillery game kind of thing where you're just aiming at the next pot to shoot into. So that's fun. So Foosball is like more exciting and competitive because you're having the two players who can defend against each other and move their players around. It's quite dynamic. But this is sort of another version that is, you know, maybe more suitable for children or a slower paced kind of thing. But it can get pretty heated, I'm pretty sure, if you're flicking it around at a fast pace. But you also need to have a bit of precision to it. So yeah, that's fun. Gibbon agrees. She's seen something sort of like this in real life, but doesn't know what it's called. So yeah, this is just really cute. Like I said, there's a few regional variants of it for different eShop markets. The ROM that I was able to find is from the American release, so it's got the American teams, but there's other versions as well. So yeah, that's cute. I think it was available on other platforms. Oh, I didn't actually write that down. But either way, I couldn't find it on my current 3DS eShop, so that's too bad. Because, yeah, very cute little design. All right, let's move on. I've got more to do. This is another one that Gibbon suggested to me coming up next. Crystal Adventure. Where's that? Just here. I'm going to tease you again by hovering over Curling Super Championship and remind you that it does not work on this emulator. I'm sorry. So why don't you tell me a little something about Crystal Adventure, Gibbon, because I know nothing about it except it was published by Circle and that it's exclusive to DSiWare and that I can't get it on 3DS eShop. Touchscreen, huh? Okay, we could do that. I have a mouse. So what am I doing? Oh, now I can use the controller. Okay. So this is a top-down dungeon crawler, it looks like. I have no idea who my character is, what I'm doing. Oh, okay. So we're getting into like instanced battles when we approach them. Oh, okay. And then they sort of play out automatically with you trading blows with the enemy in that separate screen. Okay, so according to Gibbon in chat, oh, I'm not strong enough, I better retreat. Okay, we'll take that guy on later when we're a bit stronger, I guess. Gibbon says in chat, I know that it's a game I got at the DSi eShop and that it's some mindless fun. Let's see if Google can turn up anything. Okay, so Gibbon doesn't know much background apart from just having picked it up and played it briefly. I do know one other thing about it, which is when I was looking through the archive of DSiWare game reviews on Nintendo Life, which, like I said, was a great resource for me in finding out more about some of these under-documented games, because they did reviews of pretty much everything that was released on the platform as far as I could tell. Oh, that's not going well. I'm going to fail. But how can I recover? I think I'm boned and my health's just too low. I regained health from leveling up before against weak enemies. Oh, these are weaker skull guys. Okay. So you just have to plot your route properly. But I think I've lost... yeah, so I can continue all from here, from this screen. So it saved when I got here. Oh, that's good. Oh, but I'm just stuck because I'm going to die when I enter that battle. I guess my run's over. I'll start again from the start just to give certain a little bit longer to talk about this. Okay, so Gibbon has also gone to Nintendo Life for information. And this is what she's put in chat about it. The actual story, as can be found on the Circle Entertainment webpage, is that there are some rare crystals containing a quote-unquote secret magical energy, and rumor has it that an unknown sorcerer is collecting the crystals for some unknown reason and storing them in an unknown location. So yeah, I didn't absorb much information about the game itself from the Nintendo Life review, like I didn't sit down and read it, but I looked at the review and I noted that it got a very low rating. So the Nintendo Life reviewer who looked into this game did not like it much and gave it a very poor score, but that's okay. I do strongly believe that you can still find enjoyment from games that reviewers look poorly upon, so that's fine. And yeah, as Gibbon says, there's not a whole lot to it. Pretty basic dungeon crawling, numbers go up, numbers go down kind of thing. But yeah, I do like this kind of casual style where it's just about doing it in the right order, collecting loot, getting your numbers up, you know. I think that's can be fun and addictive. Dang, I just can't take on that slime. What's the problem? Was I supposed to... Yeah, maybe if I'd backtracked and hit that blue slime in front of the door and not gone for the big green slime, I would have leveled up and then, yeah. But maybe that's enough for that one. That was cool. So thanks for recommending that. I passed over it because of the poor review score. But when you... yeah, that's great. So Gimmon says, I like it because it reminds me of old PC games like Chips Challenge or my favorite casual fantasy vaporware series, Winged Warrior. Yeah, it reminds me, you know, very slightly of my favorite Mac shareware vaporware game, Yipe. So check out Yipe, everybody. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, what order am I doing this in? Yeah, okay. We'll do the platformers first. Okay. So the GG series is really fascinating. Genterprise and Suzaku, or Suzak, Suzak's the developer, Genterprise is the publisher. They put out a ton of these GG series games on DSiWare. They were kind of budget, sort of simple concept games, but they did a lot of them, and you can find reviews of almost all of them on Nintendo Life. Let's see, I couldn't find any of them on the 3DS eShop now, but there's lots of them that were released. Okay, so the first one I'm doing is All Breaker. Let's load it up. Okay. Yeah, so like they released a bunch in Japan, and then eventually they started releasing them as well in North America, I believe. I don't know if any of them came to Europe or PAL. I want to check the manual real quick for this because I know from the Nintendo Life review that there was a little bit of lore to it. Play as Rebecca and destroy the target blocks. Yeah, so in terms of lore, at least we get a character name. That's all I wanted to know. So, game start. These are all simple games, easy to grasp and pick up. But yeah, cute like arcadey experiences, which is nice. Oh, I died because I touched the enemy. How do I jump? Okay, like that. All right, I can do that. Ugh, nuts. So All Breaker is about breaking all of the blocks. In this case, the red blocks. You can aim what have I got? A broom? Is this Dustforce? You can aim it in different directions. I guess I just have to lure that enemy out and then get out of this way. I tested this before and didn't have this much trouble. Anyway, yeah, you can aim the broom, run around, break the blocks in order to traverse each single screen arena to, yeah, get to the red blocks. And so it's a simple concept, cute, fun. I really like the idea of it. How's that audio? It sounds really distorted in my ears. I think it's at the right level that it's not going to be too disruptive. So by breaking this one, we can let all them out. Cool. Oh. Load runner style. You can break the block in front of you, or you can jump and go directly below you. So there's a bit of like action element to it. Oh, this one scrolls. Okay, it's not all single screen. I didn't know that. If you stun them, you can just get over them, but any contact, even when stunned, will kill you. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that there was more to it in this way. Actually, if we stand here, we might be able to... No, I can't jump that high. Oh, I can. If I hold down long enough. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Gibbon says, I feel like there's a certain really small age group that played Dustforce as their formative platformer when young. I was really enamored by the demo of Dustforce that I played, mostly because it reminded me of the kind of fast movement mechanics that you get in Rockman Zero, one of my favorite games of all time, by Inti Creates, where you're always dashing around and like using, how do I describe it? It's cool. I just like it. Whatever. I don't know. Okay, let me think about this. The reason I like Rockman Zero is because it's fast-paced. You have a variety of like combat actions you can do that can be linked together and that kind of thing. And yeah, that's it. Did I describe it well? Okay, cool. Anyway, some more interesting things about the GG series. The reception that they get on Nintendo Life is very variable. Some of them were received a lot better than others by the reviewers there. And so yeah, there's a lot of variance in, how they've made these games. What did we do? Game over, retry. What does that let us? Okay, we can retry in the same stage. That's what I wanted to know. That's good. Okay, so it's long then short. Okay, long, short. Oh, I ran right into it. Anyway, yeah, this is really cute. As far as other GG series stuff goes, it's interesting in that, like, they put out a bunch of these on DSiWare, a lot of them, right? But all the ideas that they had for GG series games and all the games that they created didn't all come out on the DSiWare platform. But there was a physical release, the GG Series Collection Plus. This was Japan only, but it was a physical DS cart that had a bunch of the different GG Series games that had already been put out on DSiWare. Sadly, not all of them, but a good chunk of them. Plus, about half of the collection is games that had never been released on DSiWare. So evidently... Oh, cool, you can smack the block into the enemies and destroy them that way. I wonder if you can smack this one. If I position myself right. Yeah, there we go. So that took damage. Yeah, 2 of them to destroy. Great. That's fun. Oh, the hitbox is a bit dodgy, so you can take damage as you try and pass. Anyway, I downloaded this GG Series Collection Plus, put it on my flash card, played it on my real DS because I was interested in, that big collection of retro-style games. I thought it was a really cool idea. Sadly, it's really hard to play for one major reason. The way you unlock games is by spending a currency that you earn by playing the games. The main problem with that is that you earn the currency way too slowly. So you have to play like the handful of games that are unlocked at the start, or the ones that you unlock first without knowing what they're like. So you might choose poorly and get something that is not fun or not suited to you. And you just have to play them again and again, really tediously, to earn enough of the currency to unlock more of them. So it's just really stingy about how it unlocks the games in the collection. So for that reason, I wouldn't recommend it, sadly, even though it's a really cool idea. Alright, so this time what I'm going to do is hit it, retreat, knock the blocks back at it, so I can actually make some progress on this stage. Oh, that was close. Almost stuffed myself up. Ah! Jeez, those guys are tough. They can jump very high. Okay, buddy, let's go. Okay, what do we do now? Approach from below. No! This game's rough. It gets tricky. But yeah, I like this one a lot. But there's so many more GG series games. I've chosen a bare 4 of them to feature on this stream. But there's so many out there to try. Next we'll try the Spiky Blowfish. This one is interesting because it wasn't featured on the GG Series Collection Plus release. So this DSiWare emulation is the only way you can play it these days. At least in my region, because I don't have the games available on the 3DS eShop. You might if you're in Japan or North America. Let's see. Interesting thing about Suzak, the developer of all the GG series games. They're also responsible for the Wario Master of Disguise. Okay, yeah, that's not so well regarded. But they also made the last of the F-Zero games ever in the history of the series, apart from, you know, Captain Falcon's Twister Maze or whatever it's called on Nintendo Land. They did F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero Climax on GBA, so the latter 2 games that were based on the anime, as opposed to the first F-Zero Maximum Velocity on GBA, which was sort of a next generation kind of setting. Cool. So this is cute. It's kind of a hybrid platform-ish. It's not really a platformer because you're swimming. I guess it's like swimming mechanics in platformer games. But it's also got this kind of shooter element. You're spitting out spines to hit the enemy fish. It's just really cute. I'm a sucker for any game that is set under the sea in this kind of fishy environment. I think it's very cute. And yeah, there's some interesting mechanics with the fact that you're a pufferfish. Because when you're blown up, well, like every time you press A to swim upwards a bit, you puff yourself up a bit to achieve that and flap your little flippers in a very adorable way. But because you're puffed up and all spiked out, you can damage the enemy fish in that state. But then you're vulnerable again as you're falling down. So I'll just demonstrate that there by knocking out all those fish. But you can also try and hit fish ahead of you by spitting spines out at them. So yeah, incredibly cute. I really like this game a lot, just from the brief experience I've had with it. Yeah. I'll play a few more stages. What's the time? There's so many more games to play. Let me see. Some of them will be pretty quick, so I think we're good. I think time is okay. Time is my enemy, always. Anyway, Gibbon had a comment here about Wario Master of Disguise. Man, I want to like Master of Disguise a lot more than I do. Haha. The game is perfectly fine, except for the touchscreen stuff. It's not great. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm keen to try it out at one point. You know, on my ever-increasing, like, list of games that I want to get around to playing is the entire Wario Land series, including Master of Disguise. And that's all I've ever heard about it, is that it's got annoying touchscreen mechanics that are unfun, which is not unusual on the DS, of course. Now this is cute. The seahorse is our enemy, and I don't want to hurt it because it's so cute, but I must destroy it. So this whole setup is really reminding me of Deep Blue, a shoot-'em-up game that I played at the start of last year, where all the enemies were fish and you were a little robot-type fish thing. But this is extremely cutesy, and I like it a lot. One thing I would maybe take issue with is the background music, which has been this single repetitive jingle the whole way through. But, you know, again, all of the GG series, the whole concept of them is that they're budget games. They don't have a huge amount of production value going into them, and they're not, you know, very expensive for the user either. So you just know what you're getting. Pretty simple experience, and yeah, it's fun. Putting them all together in a collection was a really cool thing that appealed to me, which is why I was so sad when actually playing the collection was such a hassle. I only really got to try out like 5 games. Oh, seriously. Alright, that might be enough of that one, but I'm a fan of that one. I dig it. The Spiky Blowfish, 2 exclamation marks. Another 2 GG series games that I'm going to try are in my other folder because they're actually shoot-em-ups. They experimented with a bunch of different genres throughout the GG series. The next one I'm going to play is Assault Buster. This one, as far as I know, doesn't have a story, but I'll just check the digital manual perhaps. See what it has to say for itself. This is an action game where you can boost around, and that's it. Okay, great. No worries. So, yeah, this is a single screen thing again. We're using the B button to dash around. We can use it to dash upwards or sideways. We've got the boost meter on the side. We can use the boost to dash through projectiles to avoid damage. And then we have a gun, of course. We haven't used that yet, but there's the gun. You can aim it diagonally, and you just have to kill all the enemies on the screen. Wait, how did I do it diagonally? Now it's not doing it. What? This is strange, because I swear I just shot diagonally before, but now I can't. Oh well. Because I figured the game was about, like, careful positioning. So you can boost up and then hit them from the side. Some more powerful enemies can shoot to the side, of course. There we go. And yeah, it's sort of like a shoot 'em up, but quite different in format, because it's all about you moving around this single screen environment and conserving your boost and using it strategically. So yeah, it's really interesting mechanics. And I like the protagonist because she has green hair, and that is always good for me. I like the green hair. I've said before, I currently have green hair. Well, partially. I didn't bleach my whole head, so hurry up, but I don't want to hurry up. I can dash vertically through them. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's cute. Nice, nice, nice. Assault Buster. Nice ruined city background there. Yeah, but that's about all there is to it. Like with the other GG series games, it's quite simple. There's not going to be much more to it than this. Might be some more enemy types as we go on. But yeah, looking at the clock again, I think we should move on at this point. So that's Assault Buster. Let's have a look at another type of shooter game that they did in the GG series. It's called simply GG Series Wonderland. Oops, wrong button again. And if you know anything about Lewis Carroll, you might guess the theme. It's an Alice in Wonderland themed shoot 'em up, which I think there's already a few of, to be honest. It's a pretty common theme because it's public domain. But yeah, it's a more traditional style vertical shoot 'em up here. Our enemies are playing cards, and what is that, a griffin? Okay. There was a griffin in Alice in Wonderland, right? Maybe. Okay, so it's slightly bullet hellish. I don't know. Not as bad as some others I've seen, of course, but yeah, much more traditional kind of setup, but with a fun theme that gives it a nice colorful style, and yeah, it's cool. Alright, by holding down B we have a more powerful shot, and Y is our normal shot that's like a spread shot. We can't do both. And yeah, it's really just you alternate which one is better for the situation. You also move slower when you're using the focused beam. So that's a fun little mechanic to balance the two depending on your situation. Okay. What the heck is that? Okay. We've got like a cat lady. Oh, is this the Cheshire Cat? I guess. Okay. A bit more bullet curtain type thing. Slightly. Whoa. If you don't know, bullet curtain is the, I believe it's the Japanese term for what in English is called bullet hell, and it derives from the word danmaku, which is literally bullet curtain. Just means that there's like tons and tons of bullets on screen that you're more focused on avoiding them rather than other mechanics of shoot 'em ups, like shooting. The shooting is very incidental. I don't know, I don't get on with bullet hells much. I'm inexperienced with shoot 'em ups in general, so bullet hells in particular, which are designed for advanced players and very precise positioning, I find them too difficult, especially since a lot of them are made with expert players in mind, you know, for a hardcore niche audience. So that's half the health bar gone, and we're into a different phase with different attack patterns. Oh boy, oh boy, oh no! Poor Alice. This is cool though, having you know, distinct boss fights and stuff is very cool. Like Assault Buster was a bit plain, even if it had interesting mechanics, but here we've got like a character with a very particular attack pattern, which is good. If I can... Whoa boy, oh no. Oh boy. Yeah, good. Get a little bit of concentrated fire in there. Ah! Oh boy. See, that's the thrill of a bullet hell. Just grazing past these tiny gaps. If you can do it, it's cool and fun. Come on, so close. Yeah, stage 1 clear. Yeah, danmaku. Yeah. Okay, so we're out of the forest and we have an entirely new stage background. I guess a London street. Oh, it's the rabbit. I was gonna say white rabbit, but not quite. It's a bit brown. So I guess it's just some other rabbit. What's time? Let's move on. Alright, so that was Wonderland. Pretty cool stuff. What can we do next? Next, I want to show you a trio of games that tie into Star Fox and Metroid in a really interesting way. So Q Games is formed by Dylan Cuthbert, who was instrumental on the first few Star Fox games, and then Nintendo kind of shoved off Argonaut and made Lilac Wars on their own, reusing concepts from Star Fox 2 without credit, and it's, yeah, not great. But anyway, Q Games under Dylan Cuthbert came back later and worked on the Star Fox series with Command. They made Lilac Wars 3D, but they also did a couple of these other games on DSiWare. Oh, the distortion's terrible in this audio, sorry about that. This is a really cute style to this game. It's called Reflect Missile, it's also called Trajectile or whatever. Each of their games has different names in different territories, which is annoying. But this one's just about sort of puzzle style. Oops, I did not name that very well. Yeah, aiming missiles, bouncing them off the blocks around, and then hitting all the targets by careful aiming. So I'm not very good at it, but there's a bunch of different power-ups you can get and stuff. It's a really cool little concept. Oh, what happened there? No. I want to do that. Yeah, there we go. Combo. So we've only got 2 left at this point. Each one has a predetermined position that comes up over here, but with, you know, the right aim, it only shows you 1 bounce ahead and a little bit of the arc after that. But yeah, with careful aiming, you can hit multiple targets and that kind of thing. You get multiple missiles, there's different kinds of missiles, but it's all about just using what the game is giving you to carefully hit all the targets in this thing. Yeah, that's right. There is a set. So now that I've, you know, briefly shown off this game, we'll move on to the next release by Q Games on DSiWare, as Gibbons alluding to, and that's called Starship Patrol or Starship Defense, depending on your region. This one's really cute. I have played this before on 3DS, having bought it through the eShop there for $7.50. The last one was also $7.50. This is really cute. It's a tower defense game, but it's got this kind of minimalist art style that almost looks like it's sketch drawings on graph paper, which is really fun. This is the connection here. So Argonaut also did X on Game Boy as a kind of it's riffing on an earlier game that was using vector polygons to have a free roaming tank combat sort of thing. So that's what X is on Game Boy, and there's like a connection there because the tank is called Vixiv. Hitoshi Sakamoto worked on that with them, and then later used the name Vixiv in Metroid Other M for the name of Adam's ship. Vix 2000 is the name of this robot, and that ties into it in some way. I think there's some other minor connections here at some point, but can I get through the tutorial just to show you the gameplay, please? Anyway, it's really cool. I like this game a lot. I do like the occasional tower defense quite a bit, and especially when you have a pointer device, is a good way to do them, and you do on the DSi, of course. So yeah, we have like little nodes, and then you build the weapons on them. What are we doing? Oh yeah, you drag them onto the positions on the ship, and then the enemies have a flight path that takes them past your little turrets that are attached to your ships, and you can pick different different turrets depending on the position of them and what kind of thing you want them to do and what your enemies are. You can also hit the SOS button to do like a big attack. Yeah, there's definitely UI that is common between the 3 given. The 3 games they did, like you say, they are kind of a set, and there might be other elements in common that I do not have at the top of my mind right now, but yeah, you're sliding the stylus around to pick up energy that's dropped by the enemies when you defeat them. So yeah, there's a bit of active engagement there with the stylus as well. And you can speed it up with the shoulder button. So yeah, this game's really cool, and I do highly recommend it, but I'm gonna have to move on. So the final one that Q Games did on DSiWare is a direct sequel to the Game Boy X game that Cuthbert had worked on so many years before. It's called 3D Space Tank, or possibly X Returns, or X Escape, depending on your region. For some reason, like the ROM I had said it was a European ROM called 3D Space Attack, and that's what it says on the menu. But then when you launch it, it's the American version that says Escape. I don't know why that is. It's weird. Oh, that's really distorted. Sorry about that. Whoa. That's really rough. Okay. This works a lot better on a real device. Anyway. So yeah, it's a direct sequel. It uses a similar kind of format where you're in a first-person, like, vector tank roaming around, but it adds new mechanics. It's a lot more responsive and mobile. The frame rate's so much better than it was on the Game Boy, which is very underpowered for that kind of gameplay, as well as you can see a lot more with the draw distance and stuff. But what I really like about this is the color schemes. Each level has this kind of stark use of color, but they all have different palettes, and it's got a really good look to it. If I can ever get through the text cutscene, I can show you what the game actually looks like, but they're trying to set a mood and make it cinematic, and it does a good job at that. This one was at a higher price point than the other two, which are a bit simpler. So this was 12 Australian dollars for me, but well worth it, I think. And yeah, when you play X, and especially the tunnel sections, which this sequel also has, you can definitely see how it's a direct precursor to Star Fox. On top of the wireframe polygons, just the way that the gameplay goes in those tunnel segments is very familiar. And all three of these games are exclusive to DSiWare. Have never been re-released or anything like that. Come on, can we play the game, please? I should have probably tested this beforehand, but oh well, here we are. What's the time? Oh man, I gotta rush. Yeah, there's a few here that are not that interesting to show long form. Should I do a part 2? No, I'm gonna keep going. Forgive me. So it is letting me skip this bit, but yeah, so training tunnel. We're in our battle tank here. Just a simulator at this point, but oh yeah, that's right. Stylus control, doesn't it? Yeah, so Metroid Prime Hunter style. There's that Vixiv name that I mentioned before. A loose tie-in with Starship Patrol, but direct tie-in to X and then Metroid's lore. If you squint, you can also detect that the commander character who appears in the sort of cutscenes in X kind of inspired the look of the Galactic Federation officers, including Adam Malkovich in Metro Other M. Anyway, it doesn't all look like this. This is a little bit Virtual Boy inspired, but when we get out of this simulation mode and into the real game, there's those color schemes that I was talking about before that I enjoy a lot. So yeah, using the touchscreen to fly around is something that Q Games also did in Star Fox Command, of course. So it's really part of that same DNA. I think if you're looking deeply into the Star Fox series, this is like required playing along with those, I would say. How do I move again? It's been a while since I played this. Yeah, so you can strafe. Oh, slide up? Yeah, okay, there we go. Maybe it didn't let me do it until they told me how. But yeah, this whole like low poly 3D kind of thing, it's very striking and appealing, I think. And yeah, this touchscreen interface is quite interesting and different. It's kind of mapping the original X Games D-pad controls onto touchscreen movements, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's great use of DS hardware, I think, with all your UI on the bottom and then your view at the top. What are we doing? Do we need to kill so many tanks before I can get to a part of the game that looks really cool? I really wanted to show that. I'll try and do that at least. But yeah, I do recommend this. If you still have a DSi... nope. You can't buy things on the DSi shop anymore. But if you've got a 3DS, you could still get this. So yeah, the flying mechanic... This was in the original 2 with these little pyramids. If you... Oh gosh, it's actually a lot harder to control this with a mouse than it is with the stylus, but... the tank has a flight mode, and once you've boosted into the air, you can zoom around like this, and that's really cool. And we can use our elevated position to do like bombing runs on the other tanks. But yeah, this is a really cool game. Later on, there's like boss fights and everything. Sorry, I right-click the screen there, which pauses the emulation. Ah, come on. So you can scope out the radar on the bottom. Oh, there's my shadow. That's cool. So that's what the Vixiv looks like in silhouette. And your radar screen on the bottom shows enemies around you and points of interest. Oh, done it again. I promise you there is more than one color in this game. Okay, we good? Can I move on now, please? It insists on giving you the tutorial, of course. There you go. So this is our little helper bot in this game. Vix529. So there's another direct link. So the robot in Starship Patrol is what, Vix 2000, and this is Vix 529. So who knows what the lineage there between them is, but there's another like very direct connection. Not just Vixiv, but the Vix number robot guy is a connection there. Oh boy. So yeah, this is that whole cinematic presentation I was talking about. But as you can see, we're getting a different color scheme now, and traveling between planets has you going through these warp tunnel things, which is fun. Yeah, this game's really cool. I like it a lot. So the original game all took place on one planet, but you move between planets here. Oh, it's the commander. Hello. Whoa. Filled in polygons. There you go. That's right. It is the commander. He's back in all his flying polygon form. And like, this is a direct link to Andross's final form in the first Star Fox game. Oh no, he's declared himself Emperor. Uh-oh. Sinister. Can I skip this? I cannot, apparently. Back? Yeah, okay, cool. I like that there's space in the UI even to show you the current battery level of your DS and the time. So yeah, each level has its own like features in the environment. So you got trees on this one and stuff. Yeah. So this, like I said, every area has its own different color scheme. This one's got a very striking blue and yellow look to it. Oops, I was touching the wrong screen for a second. I think this is a mandatory Yeah, we just got to escape and it's fine, yeah. Because the commander betrayed us, oh no! An unexpected plot development. Get me out of here! So yeah, there's a whole plot, there's a bunch of different planets you go to, different kinds of objectives. And here we can see again a completely new color scheme, and each one is like totally different and strange and interesting. So yeah, cool stuff. Let's move on now. We're gonna play a different game. That's the Q Games output, all highly recommended from me in their own way. So we're sticking with some Nintendo games now. I'm doing them in order because anything else would confuse me too much. So Aura Climber, you might be familiar with this. The main character, I think, has a sticker in Smash Brothers Brawl. But this is by NST, actually, one of the few Western studios owned by Nintendo. So these ones are... These guys made Metro Prime Hunters. They're also responsible for the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. But yeah, they put out this fun little thing on the DSi as well, where you're just this little shiny spark of light who shoots out a little tether made of energy to grab onto these little points around. Yeah, pretty cool. Gibbon probably knows people who were involved in making this game. She had some contacts at NST at a certain point in time. So yeah, when you flash, you can have a bit of a longer grapple. X? What did X do? To look around. Oh, okay. And then we can, yeah, go this way instead. So it's just all about climbing up a large vertical space. One of those vertically oriented platformers, which is a bit less common than a straightforward kind of left to right platform or whatever. Oh, okay. Score, attack, and endless. Level based. Okay, cool. So endless will just be... As you can see, there's some graphical errors on emulator as well, around the ground textures and stuff, but that's just, yeah, that's emulator problems. So yeah, cute little concept. And cheap too. I think this one was a $3 special, yeah. Okay, I have aerial mobility as well. That's good. It put me on level 1 for the score attack. I don't know how long they are, but according to my notes, there's 10 levels in all. Oh, okay, cool. So we can actually get a longer grapple slightly. Oh. There we go. And longer again. That feels cool. Ah! Oh no! Ah! Oh, cool! So as you're falling, you can then get a combo by, like... Nah, there's not really swinging mechanics. Yeah, that's sad. I wanted there to be physical, like physics-based swinging, but oh well. Not every game can have that kind of simulation element. Alright, what's next? Here's another kind of experimental DS game. This uses the touchscreen. It's called... no, it's over here. A Kappa's Trail. This is one I always wanted to try my whole life since I found out about it after playing Mother 3. So Mother 3 developed by Brownie Brown, you know, under Itoy. But after they did that, they went and did this. They've done a few other cute things. They were responsible for the London Life sub-mode in Professor Layton and the Spectre's Call. Or, no, Last Spectre? It's the one... It was cut out of the European release to make room for more languages, sadly. So you'd have to get the American version to play it in English. Which was what was also ported to Australia. So we got the bad Luke, who has the weird voice. But yeah, it's a cool little mini game where you sort of live in a little town. It's like a life simulation kind of thing. Anyway, cute stuff. Sadly, you know, they were they became nothing more than a sort of contractor assisting on various other Nintendo games after a while. So they don't really make their own games anymore. They changed their name to One Up Studio, and now they're in what I like to call assistance hell. But yeah, this is a cute little game. You entirely use the touchscreen to direct this character around. Oh, are we eating fish? Yeah, okay, cool. So these are the creators of Mother 3. There's a few connections in this game. There's some little references to Mother 3. I don't know when they pop up, but at certain times on the seafloor here, you can see little objects that were from Mother 3, such as a pig mask. There's an octopus that you can see that also, I don't know what, yeah, we don't need to do that. I want to actually play the game right now, please. But no, it's going to keep tutorializing me right now. I didn't know this was like a full like adventure. Yeah, okay, thanks. Oh, come on, fish. Stop talking to me, please. Yeah, I see them. Thank you. Okay. Oh, the Kappa is also from Mother 3? I don't remember that at all. Yeah, it's firmly a spin-off, according to that criteria, yeah. The Kappa is from Mother 3, huh. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. The mermaid, like, thing. There's like a mermaid statue that fills your air when you're going in between the main island and the, like, outlying islands at a certain time of the game. In Mother 3, and they pop up here as well. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Yes, can I play some of the game now? Thank you, that'd be good. Wait, what? This is a mini game. Okay. Alright, so still using this control scheme. Yeah, I failed. You don't have to rub it in. Oh, I missed. Oh my gosh, this is tricky. All right. Well, I've run out of patience for this right now. I might revisit it later on my own time, but just it's playable. It's out there. You can go play it if you want. There are so many things I want to show. Oh god. All right, let's do these rapid fire style. Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition. This is an expanded remake of the side multiplayer mode from Link to the Past GBA. It's been expanded in many ways, enhanced with new like stuff, but they've added the single player mode, which is a real boon to someone who doesn't have a link cable or other people around who have this game with the that you can, you know, use the Wi-Fi local connection to play with them. You can swap between them, and then what's the other button? Yeah, you use the whistle, which is new in this version because it's exclusive to the single player mode, to Pikmin style pull your partner over to you. You can then, how do you, yeah, and then you can pick them up and throw them. Yeah, so that's how you get around in this thing. Little action-based score attack stages with little dungeon puzzle challenges. It's really cute. It's really cool. On this version, they also added 3 extra levels, which are based on previous games. So there's one with like a Hyrule Fantasy style, NES graphic style. There's a Link to the Past one, and a Link's Awakening one that's in monochrome. So that's cool. They also added a new hard mode. Yeah, so the big story with this is how stupid the distribution of it was. It was only available for 5 months, but it was free. But it was delisted at that point, and now you just can't get it at all. It was like briefly relisted on the 3DS shop for 1 day, I think, in North America only. But basically the story of this game, of this anniversary edition, is that Nintendo is just completely, what I've written in my notes is absolutely bloody ridiculous. It's just stupidly absurd. Anyway, cool game if you can get it, and now you can emulate it, so do that, I guess. But yeah, it just makes me angry thinking about it, so let's move on. Given says she could be remembering wrong that the Kappa are from Mother 3 as well. Well, I believed you, so you did okay. So Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March again. So this is another NST game, thanks to those folks over there. I am the owner, not a guest. So they did a GBA game with pre-rendered graphics that was a follow-up to Donkey Kong 94 on the Game Boy. It was originally supposed to be a remake of Donkey Kong 94. How do we start? Oh yeah, you tap them to get them running. I wasn't fast enough. Yeah, so that was like action-based. You're controlling Mario, jumping around a stage, grabbing keys and stuff, puzzles, platforming. After that, they did a bunch of a different style of game where you're instead setting the conditions of a stage with a stylus so that the Clockwork Minis can then run on their own, you know, Lemmings style, to get through the little puzzle challenges. This is the third installment of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, which follows on from, so it's like the fourth installment of the Donkey Kong puzzle platform series, but it's actually the second installment of the mini-based puzzle series. I'm just unnecessarily complicating this, but anyway. Yeah, so they put a DS one out called Mario vs. Donkey Kong. What was that one called? I don't know, sorry. Anyway, after that, they were like, hey, we've got like a bunch of ideas for more levels. So they just used that same engine from the DS game, and just basically this is a level pack for the minis type game for DSiWare that was downloadable. And then after this, they did another retail release on DS. Yeah, let me see. 60 all new levels. This is, and exclusive to DSiWare, so it's just a whole bunch of new levels for you to play in this style if you're into it. That's cool. Very cool. Still available on 3DS for $12. Alright. That's true. Yeah. Gibbons corrected me. The GBA game had leading the minis around as well, but in a regular game, you only do it on the pre-boss stages, and then all levels are that way in the plus mode. You're leading them around with Mario proper, though, which I prefer, says Gibbon. So that's a really good point. There was mini-based gameplay in that GBA one, but yeah, still with the factor of directly controlling Mario. I think this style of gameplay works well with the touchscreen though, so that's good. They had plenty of chances to iterate on it with the next DS one, Tipping Stars, Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge, and then there was like the diversion of Mario and Donkey Kong minis on the move, which was like a Pipe Mania style thing. Anyway, what else can we play right now? Paper Plane. This is a re-release of a mini game from the first WarioWare game on GBA. So it's an expanded remake where there's a bigger screen space because you're using 2 screens of the DS format, but it's still quite simple score attack kind of thing. This was, I believe, yeah, just a $3 minimum budget release, but there is, yeah, it is expanded from that initial minigame. Oops, there's Jimmy T from WarioWare. So you're going to get those sorts of things popping up. And it has other modes as well. So yeah, it's an expanded thing that's part of the WarioWare legacy. In that same vein, we have Pyoro, or Bird and Beans in North America, which is a slightly enhanced remake of the minigames Pyoro and Pyoro 2, which were both in WarioWare 1. Still available in the 3DS today. So this is cute. Little single screen arcade type thing. You're Pyoro the bird with a very long tongue who has to grab these beans. If they hit the ground, they'll remove part of your platform that you're standing on. And if too much of your platform is removed, you're going to fall down. So, I'll show what happens. Yeah. Wait, oh, I'm stuck here now? Oh, I didn't know that. The weird thing about this one is that they don't use the bottom screen at all, which is fine. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get bits replaced over time. Yeah, like the background, the graphics are enhanced compared to the GBA minigame, but they're only using the one screen, and the bottom screen is nothing but black and a tiny doodle of Pyoro, which is just so silly and cute. You can't be mad at them underusing the capabilities of the system when they're kind of just being silly with it like that. Okay, so I think eating a grey fruit restores one of your blocks. Yeah, there we go. Oops, we'll get beamed. Okay, that's cool. So that was a couple of games related to Mario tangentially. That covers all of the Nintendo games in here. Yeah, we've shown all those off now. So we're going to move on. Going to do some more rapid fire play of 101 Mini Golf World by Taeyeon, published by Select Soft. I picked up the mini golf games that I could find on here because my brother and I like to play mini golf in real life and also mini golf video games, and we enjoy playing really bad digital mini golf and making fun of it. There's certainly better ones and worse ones. Recently we've been playing on Steam and Early Access one called Golf With Your Friends, which is quite good. I think that's what it's called. There's so many and the names just all blur together. Anyway, I was curious to see how they would handle mini golf games on the DSiWare. And in this case, what they've done is a complete 3D world. Oh my gosh. Look at that camera. Look at those textures. They're so low res. But, oops. Yeah, so once you click on the ball and then you slide, and the speed with which you slide, so I'm just moving the camera now, but once you're ready, click the ball and then, so I've like rapidly swiped upwards and that's given us a lot more speed. And then, yeah, a bit of precision and then whoop. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Yeah, when we play golf with your friends, I get really annoyed at the more gimmicky stages. And yeah, they are a real problem sometimes, but it's still fun. I like the format of how that controls. There's a lot of mini golf games out there, and some of them try to innovate with gimmicky controls. Not always successfully, and often unsuccessfully, but when it's done well and gives it a tactile feel. See, that was cool. Like swinging the mouse to hit it, I think is a fun way to have a bit of skill-based or even randomness to it. That's not just like aiming and then clicking or pressing a button for a power bar or whatever. It's more interesting, and this is in that vein as well. So yeah, that's cool. That one's decent. It looks a bit rough with the graphics, but yes. And this was exclusive. What have we got next? Crazy Golf by Cranberry Production, published by DTP Entertainment. Also exclusive. This is still available on my 3DS eShop for $7.50. I've made a profile beforehand. This one has that fun element that I like, where you're in a real world space. So we're on top of a table here, and the obstacles are, yeah, like everyday objects. But the actual gameplay is quite basic and not very interesting, where you just drag around the like shoot meter and then let it go, and that goes. So in terms of a physics simulation, it's very basic, and the presentation, you know, is pretty simple too. These just flat you know, environments and stuff, although the art style is kind of nice. But yeah, there's not much to this. In fact, there's not even, like, there's barely a golf element. It almost feels like you're just flicking a marble around. It's the basic idea of a golf mechanic, but without any of the trappings. So yeah, that's Crazy Golf. There's one other mini golf game that I want to try, and we're back with our friend Suzak. They didn't just do GG series, they also did Proput Domo. For some reason, these Domo-kun games were released internationally, at least in North America. Not in my region. I can't get it on my 3DS right now, but they're actually published by Nintendo, which might be part of the reason why they decided to put the extra budget in to release them internationally. If you're familiar with Domo-kun, he's like this mascot character who... He's the mascot of the Japanese public broadcaster NHK, which I didn't know until researching this game. But this is one of a series of... Oh, this isn't even touchscreen controlled. This is all button controlled, which is pretty boring for a DS game. But and it also uses that mechanic that I think is really not very engaging, where you just hold a button to fill a power bar. That's not my preferred way of simulating golf. But it is definitely used a lot. The only way I knew Domo-kun before seeing him in Japanese merchandise was he's the face of the... Okay, so there's like a parody Wikipedia, which I probably can't recommend going to because there's probably... it's probably not aged well, but Encyclopedia Dramatica, which had an article on the concept of grus, and grus are a monster from Zork, which you never see, but in the context of this article, in this fake encyclopedia, they were represented with the image of Domo-kun. So if it's dark and you're likely to be eaten by a gru, you might actually be eaten by a guy that looks like a hash brown with a giant mouth in it. Given saying, Zork, many a gru has slain me in that game. Yes, it's all too easy. If you go in a dark space with no torch, you are likely to be eaten by a gru. So anyway, but Domo-kun is not here to eat people, he's here to play mini-golf. And like I said, this is part of a series of these kinds of like mini game things that were released on DSiWare through Suzak and Nintendo. 5 of them, in fact. But yeah, so wait a minute. I saw N. Bildorf. He's like long-time Nintendo localizer person. So they've filled the high score table with names of Nintendo staff, apparently. But yeah, this looks cute and all. I like the look of Domo-kun here and the colorful environments, but I'm not a fan of the control scheme. Leslie Swan, yeah, that's also another Yeah, so you might recognize some of these names if you're familiar with Nintendo history. Oh yeah, okay, so we're getting through them. Only a few more to go before I'm done for today. I'll keep doing them in order because I'll get confused otherwise, but 101 Dolphin Pets. This is in the 101 series along with 101 Mini Golf World, the same developer and publisher. I see dolphins, I click dolphins, so I was gonna check this out. Unfortunately, it's that style of game which I am not a fan of at all, which is training a dolphin, keeping them in a tiny pool and making them do tricks, which I think is highly unethical. But like, you're literally in a backyard swimming pool, which unless they very specifically treated the water is going to be very unhealthy for the dolphin. But yeah, there's all these like meters and, you know, pet mechanics. I don't even know how like the mechanics of this game work, but oh, there's different areas we can go to. Oh cool, okay, this one's bigger at least. That's good. What's this? Dolphin clothes. Yeah, let's put a shirt on the dolphin. That's great. Oh, I don't have any yet. I need to buy them. Ugh, yeah. So there's other games in this series that are like this, where you are like interacting with an animal. But one thing I want to show is the customization screen. So you can actually change the species of the dolphin. So the default is common dolphin. Bottlenose is the second one, which is interesting. You've got spotted, dusky, tucuxi, Chilean, Deinodon, Clymene, Costero, Atlantic, Commersons. That's my favorite dolphin, by the way. So yeah, a lot of variants, but they're all, I don't know, they're really weird. Like, the texture on the dolphin is so low res, and the patterns, they're not really 100% what the actual patterns on real life dolphins are. Like, I don't know why the Commerson's dolphin looks like a zebra. Like, that's extreme coloration and patterning. And Atlantic dolphins are spotted, but not to that extent. So it's just kind of funny and silly. You also have colors, but they don't change it that much. I don't know. It's just really weird. I liked the variety of dolphin species that are here, but it really only changes what blocky texture is displayed on their body. Anyway, that's enough of that. I thought it was a bit silly. Okay. Whoop, sorry. All right, what's next? Pinball Attack is next. Where's that? Probably under P. No, these aren't in alphabetical order. They're in... Wait, what order are they? Alphabetical by publish? No? I don't know. Anyway, Pinball Attack. This one's cute. I did, of course, do a pinball series or a pinball stream of pinball games that have some kind of other underlying basis to their mechanics, that has some kind of fantasy element or action element or adventure kind of thing. This one is in that vein as well. So Pinball Attack. Can I start game? What's going on? Okay, I was hitting the wrong button. It's cool because it's scrolling up through an environment. You're in an undersea world. So it's got these thematic things about it that are fun, as well as the mechanical difference of moving like a constantly moving field instead of trying to replicate a real pinball table, which I'm a fan of, taking pinball mechanics and making them more extreme or outlandish in a way that real pinball tables just can't do, which makes sense for a video game, I think. So yeah, I'm happy to add this to that list of pinball adventure type games, which there are definitely some things worth checking out. A recent one that I've been meaning to try is, oh, what's it called? It's the one where you're a robot and you're like running around with a sci-fi sword and reflecting energy balls. So it's like loosely based on pinball mechanics, but reinterprets them in a really interesting way. Monster in the Well, I think it's called. Yeah, it has an odd name. Is that it? Luckily we actually have a lot of balls. I think that's what the bottom right box is showing us, how many balls we have left. They've given us a lot to get through this. Is it Monster in the Well? Creature in the Well, that's it. Thanks, Gibbon. I think I've just been awarded an extra ball for getting points. That's nice. So yeah, this is really cool. I want to play through at least like a stage of this and see where it goes. Oh, bigger UFOs incoming. But yeah, like damaging enemies by hitting them with the ball. That's fun. I think the high watermark for these kinds of adventure pinball games is Yoku's Island Express, of course. I do like Metroid Prime Pinball on DS a lot, although it does, to some extent, replicate the idea of a real pinball table, even if it takes it to some strange places that only a video game can do, which I really like. But it's fun about keeping some conventions of conventional pinball gameplay. Oh, no. Oh, really? Alright, if I drop the ball in there, there we go. That works. Yeah, the actual pinball and flipper physics is maybe not the best here. And like hit detection and stuff, but still, I got to applaud the concepts here and the ideas of how it works. And I gotta wonder just how long this is going to go on for. I've been going for a while now already. There's only a couple of games left for me to show after this, of games that I found to be interesting and worth showing off briefly while looking through a list of old DSiWare games. There's certainly a lot more on the platform. I especially wanted to show off the exclusive stuff. This, for example, was never re-released, so it is exclusive to DSiWare. Not available for me on 3DS currently either. Let's see. So I'll tell you about the developer. So this is created by a Japanese studio called Arte Piazza, which I believe is a Italian kind of word. Let me see. Yeah, so what I've written is that this is one of their few original works that they just created on their own, because normally, most of the time, they have assisted on Square Enix games. So I don't know if they're owned by Square Enix or what, but they've done a lot of like assistance work on Dragon Quest games and spin-offs. And Game Bridge? I've written Game Bridge. I don't know what that is. Something to do with their Square Enix work. Do you know what Game Bridge is, Gibbon? Anyway, this is cool. We've got a giant enemy crab here with sort of separated pincers that kind of catch the ball, which is cute. That's nice. Oh no! Got crushed and destroyed. That's nasty. Oops. Oh, I might run out of balls here. Oh yeah, and apologies for my poor pinball gameplay. I've known that I'm not good at like precise control of the ball. Yes, I hit its weak point for massive damage. Oh wait, that hasn't happened yet. I guess the eyeball's the weak point. Just to complete the joke of this being a giant enemy crab. Also note how this uses the two DS screens right up against each other, ignoring the physical gap, as is the case with certain games. Come on. I'm bad! Oh no! Yeah, that's a good call. Given saying that Creature in the Well reminded her of Hyperlight Drifter. Yeah, there we go. Only a few hits to the weak point. Did some massive damage. Oh, sorry. Well, sorry to use an overplayed trope, but given saying, man, that's all anyone knows Genji for. And not even that, really. Just the giant enemy crab thing. I didn't even know it was from Genji. I don't know what Genji is. I just knew that it's a meme. Anyway. So we're out of the undersea environment. We're in a new place. I don't know if I can save my game or anything, but I'm just going to quit anyway and get a new rocking music track in the background, but I do need to move on. I have to play them in order. Even though I want to finish on this, I'm going to play this next. So Jellycar 2 is a game I've actually played before on my phone. A long time ago. It was an early iPhone game. Jellycar 2 and 3 are made by Disney Interactive Studios. But the original Jellycar was by a solo developer called Tim Fitzrandolph, aka Wallaba. You could also play Jellycar 2 on iOS at the time, not anymore. Or either 2 or 3 are still on iOS. I don't remember which one. So you might still be able to get this, but you might also want to wait a bit because Richard is Tim Fitzrandolph, is working on a kind of follow-up. So he, after he made the original, Disney... Oh, okay, I've got grippy tires from a power-up. That's fun. Yeah, so after he made the original, he was working under Disney, and Disney made a couple of sequels because they recognized what a cool concept it was. It's basically that kind of bike or die bicycle motocross type game, which I've talked about before on these streams. This kind of thing that I think is a fun concept. Oops. So I think what we got to do is make this jump and then activate the sticky wheels. Yeah, there we go. So I've started on the normal level, so we've been through all the tutorials already. So it's kind of giving us harder levels at the start, but it's this kind of driving / platforming traversal thing that I think is really fun, as well as the jelly element where everything kind of deforms and blobs around. It's a really cool concept, and that's why I really like the 3 Jellycar games. But yeah, like I was saying, stay tuned for Tim's next project. He's working on a follow-up to Jellycar called Jellycar World, not under Disney, so he doesn't work for Disney anymore. Which is good, since the the 3 original Jellycar games have mostly been delisted from their original release platforms, which is very unfortunate, because yeah, I really enjoy these games. Jellycar Worlds. Did I say world? It's worlds. And yeah, this I've written a note that this has been definitively delisted from wherever it was available. But yeah, it's really cool. I like this game a lot. I'm stuck right now. Exit. Yes, I quit. No? Ugh, whatever. Alright, that's enough. I need to wrap this up. But Gibbon is telling me about Genji. Genji, Dawn of the Samurai, is the game that the Onimusha devs made after leaving Capcom and forming their own studio. Genji Days of the Blade is the sequel, the announcement press conference for which the giant enemy crab meme originates from. Thanks for that history lesson. That's great to know. Yeah, okay. So is it similar to Onimusha in style? I know you're a big fan of Onimusha. All right. So this is kind of reasonably well known as a DSiWare exclusive. It's a Katamari Damacy game on a Nintendo platform, which is very rare. But it's not exactly what you would expect. It's actually a spiritual successor to Pack Attack, the Pac-Man themed puzzle game on SNES, Mega Drive, Philips CDI, Game Boy, and Game Gear. So it's just another of Namco's properties being applied to that style of puzzle game, and it is done in the format of holding your DS sideways like a book, which is rare for DS games, but was occasionally used for things like adventure games or visual novels or puzzle games like this. So that's interesting. If you're familiar with Pack Attack, it's a falling block puzzle game where you're supposed to set up combos for Pac-Man to scroll through. I can't rotate the screen on this emulator, by the way, or I don't have time to do it. I'm just going to briefly show what it sort of looks like. So you drop blocks in order to create like a path. Yeah, okay, so when you drop that block, which has the Katamari on it, the prince comes out and rolls it through where all the fruits are, thus picking them up, and then the blocks that are left drop down and get destroyed. So this is the same way that Pack Attack works, if you're familiar with that. So yeah, it's just kind of really disappointing that it's not a proper Katamari game. Around this time, they were releasing proper Katamari games on iOS, which didn't actually play that well because they used gyro-controlled schemes for moving around. Not ideal, I would say. That was the first one. The second one had a virtual thumbstick, but it was a lot more expensive, so I never got it. So yeah, they're simple levels to start off with, but and I don't really fully grasp the mechanics of how you set up chains, but these ones have predetermined chains just to ease you into it. Anyway, yeah, I didn't say the name. This is Korogashi Puzzle Katamari Damashi. Yeah, that's about all I want to show of it. But it's just a weird kind of exclusive that is an oddity that some people know about. Oh, it's Japan exclusive, by the way, as well, never localized. One of the few games that I'm featuring on these streams that was never released outside Japan. Now, I've, for some reason, written my notes such that I'm ending on the most damp squib of a game that I have on the list, but BIP Media have a series of my blank farm games, which they've continued doing. There's some on DSiWare, there's some on later consoles as well. Even in the latest few years, they're still doing variants of this on newer versions, on newer consoles and PC and stuff. I couldn't find it on my current 3DS, but other ones were there for $3. The only reason I picked it up was just to see how their representation of Australia is, and I want to say not great. For starters, just have a look at the background, where apparently in, the desert in Central Australia, it looks like, with the red sand. And what's that in the background? Well, it certainly looks a lot like Uluru, but why are there two Ulurus? It's famously, Uluru is unique. There is one of them. It's very big, hard to miss. There's not two of them. Anyway, moving on. The idea with all of these games that you start off with, what? Yeah, whatever. Just what? Anyway, here's Bruce, the Outback Ranger, a white Paul Hogan type, or Crocodile Dundee type. And this is another place I'm going to pull the game up. One of the base creatures in this game that you put in your farm is an opossum. There are no opossums in Australia. We have possums. The opossum is the only marsupial that exists outside of Australia. It's like a distant relation back from when Gondwana land existed, where the only surviving strains of marsupials are outside of Australia are the opossums in North and South America, and there's a few variants of those. Sometimes when Americans talk about possums, that's what they mean, but because they're just slightly abbreviating it. But our possums are quite different, and there's a lot of variants of them too, but they're definitely a separate thing. Anyway, we have pennies for some reason, because I guess this is set in the 50s. And yeah, we start off with an emu. Now, I have seen emu farms, so I'm not going to I'm not going to dock them points for that. I wish I could remember the other animals that we get. Yeah, fair go, mate. Okay, that's spot on. They get points for fair go, mate. Yeah, okay, thank you. I wanted to look at what other animals I can get. Yeah, farmer's market. So we start with the emu. Emus lay eggs. We get the opossum, which does look like an Australian possum, but they call it an opossum. Kangaroos. You don't farm kangaroos. They're wild. In fact, in some areas and some conditions, they're considered a pest to farms because they can overpopulate and then they need to be culled and then they sell the meat. So you can actually buy the meat of kangaroos, our native symbol animal, in supermarkets, and it's considered to be quite healthy. And since they're culling an overpopulated population, it's also considered to be good for the environment that way if it's not done to excess. Anyway, you can also get crocodiles. Good. You can get sheep. Yes, there's lots of sheep in Australia, of course. And the final animal that you get is the buffalo, which, again, quite out of place. We do have cows. We have a lot of cow farming, but a buffalo is a little odd. So it's just weird. Wallaby farms? Are there wallaby farms? What do they do with the wallabies? That's interesting. Anyway, I don't know. I just wanted to load this up and make fun of it a little bit, but it's a fine formula of game that works on multiple platforms. I do like the animal sprites. They're kind of goofy looking and fun. Actually, that possum reminds me a lot of, I'm not sure what, it could be the ringtail possum. A very cute one that I remember getting in a Yowie. Yowies were kind of like a version, an equivalent of Kinder Surprise eggs. They were a chocolate creature that had a little animal that you assemble inside. And you can learn a little something about native animals. They're a big part of my childhood. Anyway, let's watch this emu roam around a bit while I read what Gibbon wrote about Onimusha. Genji is sort of Onimusha-ish. It's based on the tale of the Heke clan, with Minamoto Yoshitsune seeking out revenge for his father. They drop the souls-based leveling and go with a more traditional XP system, but in exchange have some interesting tweaks on the combat. Given goes, oh, do y'all not farm wallabies? We have a wallaby ranch down the street from me in the Seattle area. That's amazing. I had no idea. You imported wallabies to America and then farmed them? That's interesting. But what do they do with them? Do you eat the wallabies? Do you get the pelts? I assume it involves killing them at some point. That's weird. Hearing that they farm wallabies in America is news to me and very interesting. But no, they're wild animals here. We don't farm them as far as I know. But if you introduce them into another area, I guess it makes sense to farm them rather than letting them go feral or anything. Oh, but yeah, that's it. What a crazy stream. That was just wild. I think I tried to pack too much into it, but I hope I've demonstrated that there's some fun and interesting exclusives on DSiWare that are really hard to get these days, especially depending on your region. But thanks to the No Cache GBA emulator and Ray VGM on the HC101 forums and others who wrote tutorials on the other one that I had a link for, GBA temp forums, I think. I'll drop those links again just in case anyone wants to try running this emulation system on their own Windows machine. But yeah, thanks to that, it's made this kind of class of, or like, a group of games that was lost or could potentially have been lost. It makes them accessible again, which is really cool. and I appreciate that a lot. Okay. As far as what they do with the wallabies, Given says she has no idea, but they let people come and pet them. Was great stress release in college. Okay, so acts as a petting zoo. That's really cool. I dig that. As long as the wallabies are okay with it, you know. They've probably been tamed at this point from human contact, so I guess they'd be fine with it. Oh, you can adopt them. They're pets. Goodness me. Wallabies as pets. I never thought of that. Huh. Exotic pets. I always feel a little strange about taking, like adopting exotic pets because they seem like they would be wild animals as opposed to more domesticated cats like house cats and dogs that have had many, many generations of human breeding and domestication. So that's interesting. I don't think I would want to adopt a wallaby myself, but interesting. All right. Okay. I'm just going to scroll here, see I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so that's going to be the end of my current coverage of DSiWare games. I'm not going to rule out at some point returning to one of these and doing a full stream on it, or if I discover another hidden gem on the system. It's just great to have a way to play them now. Since, yeah, for a while, like everybody thought that you would never be able to see some of these games again. So, cool. Given says, there's certainly a market for exotic pets around here. There's a shelter for exotic pets that aren't actually legal and have been confiscated that I was going to start volunteering at before the pandemic hit. Yeah, see, that's one of the problems with exotic pets is it kind of gets wild, and animals that really shouldn't be pets get adopted and they have to be housed in special rehabilitation places. Yeah, that's a bit messy. Look at those glorious two Ullaroos, the twin rocks, monoliths, regoliths. Or is regolith a layer of rocky soil? I forget my geology study. It was a long time ago. All right. Stay hydrated. That's the end. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry I didn't have a good stream layout or anything. I just wanted to bomb through as many cool things as I could and show them off. So I hope you've learned a little something about maybe a platform that was a little underserved. You might not be familiar with them. Yeah. This has been fun. What am I doing next? I really don't know. So stay tuned. You'll find out when I do. And again, because of my brother's schedule, Armadillo Run may not happen for a while yet. But it's still in the plans at some point. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to say, and it's been too long. Bye. Thank you for watching, coming with me on this journey. Yeah, good memories with some of these games. That's cool stuff. All right. Catch you later. Bye-bye.